We will not dare give any other thing but give you praise today because you are worthy to be praised. We ask you even now, Lord Jesus, to be in the midst of us, God. God, speak to us tonight. We ask that you would be with us in the meeting, oh God, in the meeting of the minds, God. We thank you for this community. We thank you for the servants of this community, God. We thank you for those that you have called to this great work. We ask that you be with us, God. Let us hear from you. Let us hear from what you would have us to do and have us to intersect into this community, God. We ask that you would help us make this place better, God, and think of the people and not of ourselves. God, we ask it, all these things in your name. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Thank you, Elder Washington. If you would like to speak when we have community announcements, if you could please sign the sheet. I think, is it in the back? Yeah. Okay, so there's a sheet in the back. If you would like to make an announcement, 2 minutes, open to the public. We need you to fill out that sheet prior to 7:30. So you got 17 minutes. If you could please also turn off or put on vibration mode your cell phone so you don't interrupt and interfere with our meeting. I'm going to do that myself.
What did you say? Fill out what?
So I'm going to start with going over the agenda, and first item will be remarks from the chairperson, that's myself. Acknowledgement of the elected officials and community partners, and I think Mr. Butler also, he has a sheet for that. The district manager's report given by Mr. Henry Butler. We have one informational presentation this evening that will be coming from the Transportation, Sanitation, and Environment Committee, the Department of Transportation. That informational presentation will be introduced by Gregory Glasgow, the chair of the committee, followed by a public hearing. We have a public hearing coming from the Housing and Land Use Committee, and that will be introduced by C. Doris Penn, the chair of the Housing and Land Use Committee. There will be a presentation from Impact on a project that's actually very near to this location. The public hearing will be followed by community announcements, roll call for the board members, committee updates and resolutions, followed by action on the public hearing where the board members will vote on the item that we're having the public hearing on, followed by a chairperson's report, acceptance of the minutes from April 1st, and then adjournment. So first, I just wanted to let you know that we have a meeting, we're having a meeting here tonight because according to our bylaws, we have to rotate our meetings twice a year outside of our normal location, which is at Restoration. So we're here at Greater St. Stephen United Church of God tonight. Next month, where are we going to be? Next month, June 3rd meeting, we're going to be at Pleasant Grove Church, which is on Fulton Street near Howard Avenue, right at the corner there. So I just reintroduced myself. My name is Richard Flateau. I'm the chair of Community Board 3. I'd like to welcome you this evening to our public meeting. I'd also like to thank Bishop Williams, Elder Washington, and his entire staff and congregation for opening up the sanctuary here and allowing us to meet tonight. at Greater St. Stephen United Church of God. We met here last year also. I'm going to have a brief report, and I'm just going to start by highlighting a few activities that I've been involved with over the last month on behalf of the community. Starting with the Borough Board. For those of you who are not familiar, the Borough Board consists of the chairs of the community boards in Brooklyn, as well as all the city council members. So there's a monthly meeting. The April Borough Board meeting was held April 2nd. They had 3 agenda items. First one was Omni New York, OMNY. So there was someone from the MTA that talked about the MTA's new fare payment system rollout. The MTA is going to be introducing a contactless card that's going to be rolled out in several phases starting this month. First phase is going to be implemented in 16 train stations from Grand Central to Atlantic Avenue. It's going to take several years, so by 2023, they hope to have an integrated payment system with a card that will work on New York City Transit, subways, buses, Long Island Railroad, Metro North, and PATH trains as well. And it's going to be sold by 4,000 merchants. So one of the questions I asked at the Borough Board meeting were the labor implications, since they're going to be selling these cards for merchants. And I was told that they're talking to the unions. They hope to redeploy a lot of the staff that's involved in selling the Metro cards. They've been shrinking the staff on the ground already, but so I was told they're going to be redeployed. Second presentation at the Borough Board meeting was the Jeremiah program. That's the information, they gave an informational presentation on services that they offer to a target client base of single, low-income women and children. Their mission is to eradicate poverty by transforming lives 2 generations at a time. They offer support for women, to women for career track education and training, and their partners are Medgar Evers College for the mother's education and SCO for children's services. The last presentation involved a vote, and that was given by the Prospect Park Alliance. They have several capital projects, and the Borough Board had to vote regarding letters of support. One of them was the tennis house restoration. A second is the Grand Army Plaza arch restoration. Harmony Fitness and Straight shade structure, and then the Endale arch restoration. So those 4 projects were given letters of support by the Borough Board. I'm going to just quickly go through a few other events that I was involved with. First, I just would like to congratulate the Health Committee. They had an event on a behavioral health resource fair, which they held on April 27th at Woodhull Hospital in their solarium. They did an excellent job of providing medical experts and social service workers to address critical issues regarding behavioral health. So they dealt with, they had medical doctors, social workers dealing with issues such as opioid addiction, K2, gun violence, depression, suicide, domestic violence, and human trafficking. So I just want to publicly thank Edna Johnson, is Edna here? Edna Johnson and her vice chair, she's the chair of the committee, vice chair, Ivy Gamble Cobb, as well as the committee members who helped out I think let's commend them, let's give them a round of applause for that. Standing work for bringing matters of vital importance to the community. Veterans Committee also had an event where we honored several veterans. That committee is led by Doug Williams. They had an event a couple of weeks ago. There was also a meeting with Police Commissioner O'Neill, and Deputy Inspector Mitch was one of the people that helped to organize that meeting. It was held at Restoration. We had about 50 to 75 community leaders brainstorming about ways to reduce the spike that we've seen recently in violent crime in the 79th precinct. And I was just told a few minutes ago about a couple of robberies. I wasn't even aware of that. There were a couple of robberies, I think it was last week, on Fulton Street, armed robberies of a Sprint and another telephone company. So that was a meeting with Commissioner O'Neill. There was a street co-naming that was held on April 26th to co-name Jefferson Avenue between Claver Place and Franklin to Edwin Woodruff Way. Mr. Woodruff was, I think he was the first Black FBI agent to be killed in the line of duty. That was very well attended. We had a lot of brass from the FBI as well as from the NYPD. So that was April 26th. Just a couple of other events. Several members of the community board met with an organization called the Collective. We met on April 16th. Chair and first vice chair of the Housing and Land Use Committee were in attendance at that meeting, as well as myself and Mr. Butler. The Collective is a London-based group that purchased the site of the old Slave Theater, which is located on Fulton Street near Bedford Avenue. In addition, they purchased a site that's to the north of it on Halsey Street that was formerly owned by Cush Campus Schools. So one of the members I know came all the way from London for the meeting. He had some other things as well, but they talked about just some general plans for the site. Basically what they do is co-living. So they have like smaller units and a lot of amenities and shared space. So they were trying to get some ideas from us as to, what the community would be looking for in the development. They plan on having about 400 units there, as well as a hotel. So I'm sure over the coming months, you'll be hearing more about that project. There's also a totally separate matter. There's a memorandum of understanding signed between Concord Baptist Church and Restoration Corporation. So the Concord Federal Credit Union is expanding their field of membership. So they had a event to execute a memorandum of understanding for that. That was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Finally, on April 11th, there was a community celebration for Boys and Girls High School, and that was chaired by Dr. Albert Van. We spoke about it at the meeting last month. It was well attended by community members, students, parents of Boys and Girls High, officials from the Department of Education, as well as union officials, and it celebrated the return to excellence and the end of probation status for the school. So One other thing, I think Mr. Butler's probably going to hit on this. We had a meeting with the Department of Transportation on April 23rd to talk about the SBS service for the B46. And they're thinking of trying to make some changes to speed up the bus route, particularly between, I think between Chauncey and Fulton, but I don't know. You're going to talk about that? Yeah, Mr. Butler's going to talk about that in his report. So we're going to move on to the next part of our agenda, the acknowledgement of elected officials and community partners. And if you could please keep your remarks to 2 minutes. We're going to start. Okay. Okay, so we're going to start with the NYPD, and we have from the 81st precinct. Okay, I'm sorry. We're going to start with PSA 3. So we have a new commanding officer for PSA 3. That's Captain Esposito. Did you want to say a few words?
Hello.
All right.
I don't need a microphone because I kind of have a big mouth, so can anyone
No,
hear me?
we need.
No, we need the mic. Really? All right, oh, okay. So good evening, everyone. Into the
Hold it
mic.
up.
My name is Captain Esposito, and I am the new commanding officer of PSA 3. I'm very happy to be here. A little background about myself. I have about 21 years with the New York City Police Department. I started in Manhattan. I did a few years in anti-crime. After that, I went to the emergency service unit, which is a SWAT rescue team. Spent a few years there. I got promoted to sergeant and went to the Bronx. I was in the 4-4 precinct for about 3 years. After the 4-4 precinct, I went to the FBI Academy, and when I came back, I went to the detective squads as a supervisor. So I was detective supervisor for a few years in Manhattan, different commands. Got promoted to lieutenant, went back to the Bronx. I was in the 4-3 for a little while, then I was the commanding officer of ECT, which is a forensics collection unit. I was there for a while, and then I got put to gang. I was in gang for a few years, and then I got promoted to captain, and I decided to throw my hat to Brooklyn. I came to Brooklyn North, that's the XO of the 7-7, the XO of the 7-3, and now I am here at PSA 3. So I'm incredibly happy to be here. I'm trying to get to as many meetings as I possibly can so that you can get used to seeing my face. And if you have any questions or concerns, my door is always open, and we're very, very well with community affairs and with the 7-9 precinct Inspector Lynch. So I'm looking forward to meeting everyone, and I'm looking forward to a great year with you.
Where you cover PSA 3? What is that?
Explain it.
I'm in Brooklyn North, so I covered I cover 7 commands, and I actually deploy in 5. So I covered the 8-4, the 9-0, I covered the 8-1.
What housing developments do you have?
I have Sumner, Tompkins, I have Marcy, I have Roosevelt, I have Freeport, I have Cooper, I have Bergen, I have Fort Greene, which is Ingersoll Whitman, I have Lafayette.
There's all nights in all those precincts.
I'm spread thin, but I do try to make it everywhere. So you're more than welcome to come to 25 Central Avenue, where the PSA is located, and you can call, come in for a meeting anytime you want. Any problems, we'll work on it together. Okay? All right. Thank you.
Okay, so I just wanted to acknowledge also from the NYPD, we have commanding officer for the 79th precinct. Is he still here? Deputy Inspector Lynch. We got another mic. Deputy Inspector Lynch, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Just since it was brought up here before in regards to the meeting with the police commissioner, it was a great night. Again, like I said, 40 or 50 people from the community trying to just put our heads together to help find different ways to combat crime. As everybody knows, there's been a rise in crime in the 79th precinct to start the year, and mainly with the violence, not our overall crime, but the violence. Knock on wood, but we've we've been able to stabilize it now, and things are going in the right direction. So, and I really think that a lot of the stuff that we've done with the Bedford Police Department will continue to decrease the violence in the 7-9. And then just to touch on the commercial robberies on Fulton Street, last week on Tuesday, a Sprint store right next to Charlie's Calypso by Fulton and Nostrand, and then a Metro PCS on Friday. Older gentleman in his 50s comes in with a shirt and tie, displays a firearm, and demands iPhones. What's unique about this is he did hit Tuesday and then Friday. He did get a lot of product, which usually tends to get a robbery purpose tend to get greedy. And I believe strongly based on a description that he actually hit in Jamaica in the 103 today, a cell phone store, a Boost Mobile store at 165 in Jamaica. So, he's all over the place. I don't know if he's, we're trying to hone in on where maybe he lives. Now he totally, ruined whatever we were thinking, because now we don't know, is he a Queens guy that came to Brooklyn and started in Brooklyn, or he just thinks it's too hot with too much police over here, and he does live in Brooklyn, so he went to Queens and then came back to Brooklyn. But, we are actively investigating it, and, hopefully we'll have him apprehended shortly. But he's, again, an older gentleman in his 50s, so, and, but hopefully we'll have him apprehended shortly.
Thank you. Okay, and the guy in the tie in his 50s is not me, because I'm here right now. Okay, I just want to acknowledge from the 79th Precinct, Police Officer Charles. Police Officer Charles, thank you. From the 81st Precinct, Detective Narcisse. Detective Narcisse here. Detective Narcisse from the 81st. Also from the 81st Precinct, Detective Facey. Detective Facey. Okay. All right, we're gonna go to the elected officials or their reps. So from Mayor de Blasio's office, Jamila Pringle Hines. And if you could please be ready in this order, we got the mic over here. Please try to keep your remarks in 2 minutes. She will be followed by Candace Julian from Borough President Eric Adams' office, followed by Shelton Jones from Brooklyn DA Eric Gonzalez's office, followed by Elizabeth Adams from Councilman Stephen Levin's office.
Good evening. My name is Jamila Pringle, the Brooklyn Borough Director for the Mayor's Office of Community Affairs, and I just had one quick announcement. So this week, in honor of Mother's Day, we're going to be handing out roses to seniors at senior centers all across Central Brooklyn. And the one that I know that definitely might have people from this area is the Crown Heights Center for Nursing and Rehabilitation. And that's going to be on May 10th at 3 p.m. At 810 St. Mark's. So if you feel the need to, spread some love, you're more than welcome to come and hand out roses with seniors with me that day. That's it.
Thank you.
Good evening, Bed-Stuy. My name is Candace Julian, Deputy Program Officer, Youth Liaison, and Bed-Stuy Liaison at Brooklyn Borough Hall. I did show up a little late tonight, so on your way out, please be sure to pick up the Borough President's Message of the Month. It has all the upcoming events and policy initiatives happening at Borough Hall. One really exciting one tomorrow from 10 to 4 is the Senior Tech Fair. It's going to be in the building, on the plaza, a lot of things happening. It's going to be a lot of fun. Policy initiatives, the Borough President and Chancellor Carranza announced the first of its kind grant to help establish yoga in classrooms. If you know the Borough President, you know he is all about social emotional learning, mindfulness, and healthy eating. He's also urging the state legislation, hearings on state legislation to establish financial education as a requirement to graduate from high school. He wants to ensure our kids don't graduate and then get credit cards and then get into financial trouble. He, in partnership with Green Light New York Coalition, is rallying to support driver's licenses for all New York residents. And in partnership with the Campaign Against Hunger, launched the first Fresh Vibes Market that brings fresh produce to food deserts around the borough. So that's really exciting news. Again, be sure to pick up the message of the month on your way out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Shelton Jones. I'm the Deputy Director for the Office of Public Engagement for your District Attorney, Eric Gonzalez. I bring you greetings for him. I just have one brief announcement. The DA recently announced a new unit in our office called the Post-Conviction Justice Bureau, which will consist of 3 different units. One, it will consist of our conviction review unit, which is already in existence. Then it will consist of our parole and clemency unit. And last but not least, it will be also a part of that will be our sealing unit. I put these out front. The sealing unit will work in conjunction with the Office of Court Administration to help individuals apply to have their records sealed. It was a law that came into effect in 2017 in the state that allows for some convictions to be sealed off your records. There is a cost to it, there is a process to it, but the DA has worked with the Office of Court Administration to have that fee waived if you work with our office on it. We don't actually do the sealing, but we will go before the judge and we will go before Office of Court Administration on your behalf and request that your records be sealed. You won't have to hire a lawyer. Our office will handle that process for you. In the past, that could be a very expensive thing to do because you would have to hire a lawyer to go through the process of filling out the paperwork. Is that the bell? Did I just get beat?
Almost.
So I got beat here.
You got the hook.
Yeah.
You got the hook.
So if you're interested in the sealing unit, I have this pamphlet out front. You can also take my number down. That's 718-250-2340. That's our action center. And my number is 718-250-3146. Again, I bring you greetings from DA Gonzalez. And please note that he's working hard to keep the borough of Brooklyn safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. So following Elizabeth Adams, we're gonna have from the Controller's Office, Nicholas Perry. And after Mr. Perry, we're gonna have from Councilmember Cornedy's office, Jacqueline Wright Williams.
Hi everyone, how are y'all doing tonight? My name is Elizabeth. I'm here on behalf of Councilmember Stephen Levin. Couple updates for you this evening. First, Wegmans just announced their opening at the Brooklyn Navy Yard. So October 27th is their grand opening day. They're hiring for hundreds of jobs. I'm going to read out the website if folks want to look that up. Part-time, full-time. They got a whole list of things for people to check out. So it's jobs.wegmans.com, and they just opened their website for hiring positions. So again, that's jobs.wegmans.com. We're working with the Brooklyn Navy Yard to really incentivize and support hiring locally. They're really focused on local hires, so we want to help get that message out as much as we can. And the other thing, just to let you know about tonight, so the council member recently introduced legislation to improve diversion out of jail to healthcare screenings and mental health programs for folks who should not be in jail, but who should be in mental health care programs. So what that program will do, it'll require at every borough the option for people before they're arraigned, before they go in front of the judge, when they're arrested, to opt to go for a enhanced pre-arraignment healthcare screening. So it's a 2-tier screening that people can access, and then so that their defense attorney and the judge can better assess what is most appropriate for them. So if that's a community program, healthcare, resources other than going to jail. So really to introduce that legislation tonight. Let me know if you have any questions or want to talk more. And then lastly, sorry, I don't want to get beat, but we are looking for more litter basket locations in the neighborhood. So please let me know any litter basket locations you have. We're looking to try to get more of the Home Depot spot. That's me. So thank you all. Have a great night.
Thank you. Nick Perry, followed by Jacqueline Wright Williams from Councilmember Cornedy's office, will be followed by Kim Robinson from Councilmember Lickenham Samuel's office.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Nicholas Perry, and I'm a representative for our New York City Comptroller, Scott M. Stringer. Tonight, I bring you some information about the latest report released from our office called State of Play, a New Model for New York City Playgrounds. Now, playgrounds are essential community spaces in every city neighborhood. They are places where children can socialize, parents can watch their children mature and develop, and where they can meet fellow parents and neighbors. Unfortunately, New York City lags far behind other American cities when it comes to providing these critical public spaces. In total, there are approximately 2,067 public playgrounds in New York City. And while these figures may appear substantial, among the 100 largest cities in the United States, New York ranks a lowly 48 in playgrounds per capita. And basically, one of the challenges from this is that on a whole, Brooklyn is the most underserved borough, with only 8 New York City park playgrounds for every 10,000 children under the age of 10. To get more information about this, I have some booklets on the table outside. If you do read it, I'd definitely love to hear your feedback. And lastly, on June 4th, we are celebrating Caribbean Heritage Month. It'll be on June 4th from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. At Kings County Hospital at 451 Clarkson Avenue. There will be very, very good food and drinks provided, and everyone is welcome to come. I urge you to RSVP so we have enough food to feed everybody. My name is Nicholas Perry. If you would like to get in touch, get in touch with my office to express any concerns or issues, you can feel free to contact me directly on my cell, 646-499-0749. Thank you.
Thank you. While we're waiting for the next speaker, I forgot to mention that the meeting is being recorded and live streamed.
Grace and peace, everyone. My name is Jacqueline Wright Williams. I'm bringing greetings on behalf of Councilmember Robert E. Carnegie Jr. And I just have a few brief announcements. On this coming Saturday, we have our monthly advisory board meeting. Our topic for this advisory board is arts and culture and intellectual property. It will be held at Restoration Plaza from the hours of 10 a.m. to 12 noon. We have a tax lien event coming up on May 21st from 6 to 8 p.m. That is also taking place at Restoration Plaza at 1368 Fulton Street. In addition, we have a free rain barrel giveaway that is taking place on Saturday, June the 8th at Brower Park, which is located on Brooklyn Avenue, St. Mark's, and Park Place. And that will be from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. You can call the office for further information at 718-919-0740. We will be having an additional free rain barrel giveaway in the Bed-Stuy community as well, but that won't take place until the month of July. So we'll come to you again with further details with regards to that. If you have any questions, again, my name is Jacqueline Wright Williams. You can reach me at the councilman's office. Have a blessed evening.
Thank you. Following Kim Robinson will be Shakti Robbins-Kubas from State Senator Montgomery's office, followed by Lucian Allen from Assemblymember Walter Mosley's office, followed by Maceo Kareem from Assemblywoman Tremaine Wright's office.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kim Robinson, and I represent Councilmember Alika Ampry Samuel, which covers Bronxville, East Flatbush, and Bed-Stuy. I just want to give an update on the participatory budget that took place. The winning project were PS 284 playground upgrade, PS 5 lunchroom upgrade, and cameras at Langston Hughes development. The projects will cost about $1 million, and to offset, to meet the deficit, the borough president has allocated $155K, and the council member will allocate an additional $245. So that's in regard to the participatory that happened this week. Last month. Just some updates on NYCHA. Tomorrow, May 7th at 1 p.m., there will be a public hearing on NYCHA to talk about the executive budget for fiscal year 20. Also, there will be 14 NYCHA managed senior center that will either be closed or consolidated. I don't have the full listing of those. If anyone wants those, you can contact our office at 718-953-3097. Underused. I'm sorry, underused. There will also be some funding put to make repairs for the senior centers that will be operating. So again, for the information of which center will be consolidated or closed, you can contact our office and I'll give you more information. And, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Shakti Robbins, while she's coming up, just wanted to acknowledge Karen Cherry. Did you want to speak? Okay. So following Maceo Kareem will be Karen Cherry, and from Assemblyman Eric Delan's office, followed by District Leader Olaniki Olabe.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Shakti, representing Senator Montgomery. I just want to let you all know that on Friday, we're having a forum on equity, diversity, and admissions in the New York City high schools. This is what the flyer looks like. If you didn't pick one up yet, I have some extras. It's going to be at Metro Tech Center. We have a little map on the back to make it a little bit easier for you guys. It's this Friday from 6 to 8.
Don't leave, Norma.
And I just want to note that it was, of course, inspired by the issues around the specialized high schools, but the senator knows that we're talking about something that's much bigger than the SAT. So she has expanded the conversation to really talk about how the high school system is serving our young people, and she knows that she represents a lot of high schools that have a lot of needs that don't get any attention or the level of resources they need. So we want everyone to come out and talk about a variety of issues, and we're really encouraging that young people come and speak for themselves about what they need from this process and what their schools need and how we can better serve them. Thank you.
Thank you. Following District Leader Olabe is going to be District Leader Darma Diaz.
Good evening. My name is Lucian Allen. I'm the Community Liaison for Assemblyman Walter Mosley. The event we have coming up is this second community conversation for the Marijuana Regulation and Taxation Act. If you don't remember from previous meetings and discussion about this, this is an opportunity to get more information about this act. This doesn't promote recreational use of marijuana. This it talks about the eventual decriminalization and taxation and regulation of marijuana within the state. So this talks about also the overturning of a lot of low-level marijuana convictions, and in addition, this being an economic generating vehicle for people in our communities. So this is giving all of you an opportunity to learn more about this and basically to have a dialogue between people within the industry to get more information. Okay, so it will be on Wednesday, May 22nd from 6 to 8. It's going to be at First Baptist Church, which is at 450 Eastern Parkway. I left some flyers outside. If there aren't any more, you can get in contact with me. I can give you my card. It has the email address on there. If you do not have the number to the office, it is 718-596-0100. Again, that's 718-596-0100. And if there are any issues you'd like me to address, you can send them directly. We're more than willing to speak to you and make something better. Thank you.
Thank you. Maceo Kareem.
Good evening. My name is Maceo Kareem from Assemblywoman Tremaine Wright's office. The Office of Assemblywoman Tremaine Wright is hosting a series of legal events. Legal clinics is on foreclosure prevention, consumer affairs, disability, and aging rights. So if you are experiencing any of those issues in those areas, please call my office at 718-399-7630. Again, the issues are foreclosure prevention, consumer affairs, disability, and aging rights. Thank you.
Thank you. Following District Leader Alabi will be Idris Abdul from the 79th Precinct, to be followed by Dan Fisher from the 81st Precinct Council.
Good evening, my name is Karen Cherry. I bring you greetings on behalf of Assemblyman Eric Lamont. Our office is 366 Canadian Street, the corner of Urban. The telephone number is 718-386-4576. We are now taking constituents that's having immigration issues. You can call the office again at 718-386-4576. On behalf of the Assemblyman, we'd like to wish all the mothers a happy Mother's Day. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, who's coming up? District Leader Dharma Diaz, 54th Assembly District.
Good evening. I just want to remind everyone about Housing Connect, which is one of our most viable resources for housing, and also to be mindful that the key word is household, which means 2 or 3 or more per household combining their income. It's not just one individual. I noticed that a lot of us are not applying for the units, but just enrolling, and it's a disadvantage to us. So please, housingconnect.gov, if you have any specific questions, see me at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, District Leader Olamide Alabi. So first, as all of you know, thanks to the New York State Legislature, we will no longer be voting in September for primary elections. The state legislature combined all of our primary elections, so federal and state primaries will now be in, you got it, June 25th is the next election, and that day we will be, well, depending on where you live in Brooklyn, there will be elections for judge. So there's a surrogates courts race. It's good to see you, Meredith Jones, wherever you are. There is a civil court race, countywide, and then there's one other race. I don't think it touches this district. It's the 6th municipal district, but those are the 2 races that will be throughout Brooklyn. Surrogates race and a civil court race. And then finally, Dharma Diaz, and I do want to stress the importance of the census. As all of you know, every 10 years we're mandated to find out exactly who is in America so that we can allocate resources and cut districts accordingly. And you will hear a lot more information about the census in the next couple of weeks and months. Your district manager and I were at a meeting about 2 weeks ago at Medgar College, and as you know, Central Brooklyn is traditionally undercounted. And so we want to make sure that that doesn't happen this go round, considering all that's happening in Washington. Thank you so much, and a very special happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Thank you. Following Dan Fisher, this will be Medina Sadiq, if she's still here, from the Bedford Stuyvesant Gateway bid. And then Brooklyn Legal Services, our state.
Good evening, praise the Lord. Good to see everybody this evening. My name is Idris Abdullah from 79th Precinct Community Council, and this is a reminder of the monthly meetings. If you did not get a flyer, this is the flyer. There's some on the table in the back, and we also gave some out. The monthly meetings, our next monthly meeting is May the 22nd. Meetings will be held every Wednesday of the month. Brooklyn Job Corps, 585 DeKalb Avenue, the corner of Notion Avenue and DeKalb. Starting time is 7 p.m. sharp. And we have to understand and realize the importance of these precinct council meetings. We, as a community and the police department, have to come up with a better strategy on how we can strengthen the relationships between the community and the police department. They cannot do it alone. We can't do it alone. It's a joint venture. At these meetings, we speak about everything from police-community relations, some of the ideas that the community might have, whether it's for the police department, whether it's against the police department, whether it's for community or whether it's against community. But this is where we begin to start a dialogue.
So we want to continue to keep this dialogue going and strengthen this dialogue. It's very extremely important that we get numbers at these meetings. One, the only way our meetings should be empty is if we have the safest block, the safest community in the neighborhood. And if we don't have that, then we have a lot of work that we have to do. So again, we need to come out. Again, the date is May the 22nd at the Brooklyn Job Corps, 585 DeKalb Avenue, and the starting time is 7 p.m. sharp. Thank you.
Dan Fisher. It's going to be followed by Medina Sadiq. Dan.
Okay, guys. Good evening, everybody. How y'all doing tonight? Good. All right, so I just want to say hello. I'm Dan G. Fisher, the president of the 81st Precinct Community Council, which you all probably know by now. We've had a wonderful season as we get ready to wind down a little bit because we don't meet during the months of July and August, but we're still working. So I'm going to echo the sentiments of my buddy at the 7-9, Idris Abdullah, that we can't make this happen without you and your participation. Our mission is to bridge the gap between the police and the community, and I feel like we're doing that. We have some wonderful officers at the 7-9 and the 8-1. The 8-1, of course, is the best, but we have some wonderful officers at both of them. Just making sure y'all paying attention. But we want you to come out to our meetings. They are the second Tuesday of every month at 7 p.m. The address is 1958 Fulton Street at the Multi-Service Center. That's this May 14th, 7 p.m., 1958 Fulton Street. And let me just briefly recap on it. We're doing additional things in the community to make our community better. We had our play on April 13th. Wonderful play, a little controversial, but good time, good art. That's what we want to do, push the envelope a little bit. And we had our pre-Mother's Day breakfast. I'm so sorry that some of you who wanted to come didn't make it, but our pre-Mother's Day breakfast was this past Saturday at Sugar Hill Supper Club, because we like to get around the entire Bedford Stuyvesant community. And let me just talk about community real quick to say how wonderful our community is. There was a brother and his son who were on their way to the meeting, saw me walking, know that I come here all the time, and asked me if I needed a ride. And I went home first to get my briefcase and stuff, and that's why I got here late. But I want to thank the brother for seeing another brother and helping out, so I appreciate that. And lastly, District Leader Olukinabe is correct. The census is extremely important. We have a lot to be aware of and be mindful of as we get ready to move into these months. Lastly, Detective Narcisse and Detective Facey are my right hands, and we work together at the Community Affairs. Call us if you need anything, 718-574-0433. And I'll always love my mama. She's my favorite girl. Happy Mother's Day, everybody.
All right.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Medina Sadiq from the Bed-Stuy Gateway Business Improvement District. And we just have a brief announcement. The bid is going to start something called the Clean Community Campaign. And what we're looking at doing is minimizing the garbage in the streets. In New York City, there's a policy of putting garbage on street corners for Department of Sanitation to pick the trash up. But in the meantime, while that garbage is sitting there, it feeds rodents. And the mayor has determined that this area, Bed-Stuy, is what they call a rat reservoir, meaning that we're breeding them here. And so the bid is very concerned about that. We were able to install 10 big dumps, which are these electronic recycling garbage cans that supposedly are rat resistant. However, if garbage is placed right beside it, the rat can't get into the can, but he can get into those bags on the sidewalk. So we're working really hard to get some of those policies changed, and also to just try to educate people about our role in keeping our area clean. It's where we live, it's where we work, and we just want to keep it as clean as possible. Thank you.
So I just wanted to acknowledge the judge's statement. You want to speak? So following Judge Betty's statement from Brooklyn Legal Services will be Demetrius Bills from Brooklyn Queens Land Trust, followed by Stephanie Zinnerman from Age Friendly New York, followed by Rob Fields from the Weeksville Heritage Center, followed by the 79th Precinct Council, Koji Council, And lastly will be the Boy Scouts and the Scout Leader Wing members.
Yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Betty Staten. I'm the president of the Brooklyn Legal Services, a 52-year-old organization providing free services. We have 4 offices in Brooklyn at 105 Court Street, at 900 Fulton Street, at 1360 Fulton Street, and at Brownsville, at I think 1185 St. Mark's Avenue. I don't really know that. Maybe a councilwoman of Leaven's office would know that one. Anyway, the number is 718-237-5500. We provide free legal services in about 16 different areas of civil legal services. Whatever your issue is, related, not criminal, you can contact one of our offices. Again, the main office is, the number is 718-237-5500. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mills?
Good evening. I just wanted to come here and introduce the new board president of Brooklyn Queens Land Trust, Shadea Brownlee. We're so proud to have her as new president. All our board officers are new this year. As you know, I've retired, moving on to the Carolinas. But I want you to know that BQLT is in great hands, and it's very important that we continue to get support from the community and stand up if someone tries to take those gardens away from us. So, Shada.
Good evening. How are y'all? Very happy to be here. I'm going to be very brief. I just wanted to say hello and see you guys and meet everyone. My name is Sadea Brownlee again. I'm the new president for Brooklyn Queens Land Trust. We have a number of gardens within Central Brooklyn. We have 36 altogether. And so I'm looking forward to seeing some of you guys throughout the growing season, getting to know you in your gardens, and hopefully seeing you if you're not a gardener. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stephanie Zimmerman.
Good evening. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to Older Americans Month. Turn around and look at somebody that's older than you and say, I love you. Tell them, thank you for taking care of this community so that I can thrive. Very good. So, as the chair of the Age from the Neighborhood Initiative, all right, that's a lot of love in the room. All right, I only got 30 seconds. As the chair of the Age from the Neighborhood Initiative, it is my pleasure to be here before you this evening. Just this past week, we celebrated 7 years, and so we are looking forward to the upcoming season, the opportunity for more older adults to retire and volunteer and do wonderful things in our community, but also to help us advocate for the best of senior services so that we can all age in place. So outside, there is a booklet that has all of our May offerings. And I just want to bring your attention to one thing, although we have a lot of great things going on. On Wednesday, we will be going to City Hall for Aging Advocacy Day. So we're getting on a bus at Restoration Plaza at 8 a.m. And then we are headed to City Hall, where we will be sitting down with the different council members and going over the legislative agenda. So there is a letter going out, and this letter is going to be addressed to Mayor Bill de Blasio as well as Speaker Corey Johnson. And we are saying to them that seniors make up 16% of the population in New York City, so we should have a representative number of the budget. So there's a list of programs that they're threatening to cut that we want to make sure that they do not. As you know, they are closing senior centers in our community, and they don't have great meals that are culturally competent. I mean, we all know that a stressor ride needs to be fixed, so there's all sorts of things that they need to do for the seniors. So remember, you just said I love you to your seniors, so please sign the letter so that we can take care of our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. From Weeksville Heritage Society, Robert Fields, be followed by Overseer Modestein, and then lastly, the Boy Scouts.
Hey, good evening, everyone. How are you all? Good. How many people in here have been to Weeksville before? Okay. So for those of you who haven't, Weeksville is a Black Historic House Museum. We are preserving the history of what was the largest free Black community in pre-Civil War America. And we do historic preservation and arts and culture programming, education. We welcome 6,000 school kids every year at least. But unfortunately, I'm here to tell you guys something and ask for your help. We are in danger of closing. Of course, we're doing everything we can do to avoid that, but today we just launched a public fundraising campaign. The goal of that is to give us some time to figure out how we fund this nonprofit differently. How do we get additional revenue streams? How do we plan for long-term sustainability so that space that so many of you have come to and love can be here for future generations. So outside, I have left some cards, our Save Weeksville cards. There's some information on the back. If you go to weeksvillesociety.org, you can see the video, click through to see the full video, which features the actor and Brooklyn native Michael K. Williams being our big advocate to help us raise some money for Weeksville. If you've not been to Weeksville, come by on Saturday, because we're going to be doing free tours of the historic Hunter Fly Road houses, as well as a whole program we're kicking off this month about the history of Black restaurants in Crown Heights. So please join us, please spread the word, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Overseer Monstein.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Reverend Monstein, and I'm the Vice President of the 79th Precinct Clergy Council. We are served with Pastor Dwayne Dangle, who's our president. The young man's the 81st precinct is the best precinct. I believe it's 79. Amen. So I just want to make a quick announcement. 79 Precinct Clergy Council is presenting our first hour of prayer. The scripture tells us, if my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray. We know prayer changes things. Prayer changes situation. Prayer can change the community. Prayer can change the mind of the president. If the people will come together and pray for 1 hour, our prayer will be on May 20th at 6:30 at Brooklyn Tabernacle Deliverance Center, 600 Lafayette Avenue. And we invite you to come, invite someone to come, and God will bless you. If you pray, God will change situation. God bless you.
Thank you. Lastly, thank you, Reverend Monstein. The Boy Scouts, led by the Scout leader, Wayne Devlish.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Wayne Devlish. I'm a Scoutmaster for Bedford Baptist. I just want to let folks know Scouting is alive and well in Bed-Stuy. We have our meetings every Monday evening. And I just want to introduce our senior Scout leader, who's going to just talk a little bit about his Eagle Project, which is the highest ranking that a Scout can attain.
Good evening. My name is Justin Pruitt, and for my Eagle Project, I'm going to be renovating our church's backyard. Yeah.
Thank you for your work with Boy Scouts. Let's give them all a hand. Yeah. Moving on with the agenda, next will be the district manager's report, Mr. Henry Butler.
Good evening, everyone. The district manager's report is out on the table. If you don't have it, it's on the green flyer. I'm just going to go through just a couple of items on here because we are way behind schedule. Mr. Plateau mentioned earlier about our meeting with the Department of Transportation about the B46 SBS stop at Malcolm X in Fulton. Basically what came out of that meeting, DOT would like to make Malcolm X Boulevard between Chauncey and Fulton Street and Utica between Fulton and Atlantic a bus stop only location from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. We were told that 38,000 people ride the B46 daily. It is the highest ridership bus route in Brooklyn. We would lose 8 parking spots between between Chauncey and Fulton along Malcolm X from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The bus's only lane would start at Utica between Fulton and Atlantic. We are getting the extra long buses. They're coming permanently this summer for the B46. Those buses are 62 feet long. The regular buses are 40 feet long. So that's one of the reasons they're looking to make just that location a bus stop only, and also to increase the speed of that bus route. They'll be here in the next couple of months to do a presentation on that proposal. Last week we had our first resource fair with HPD, the Bed-Stuy Housing Initiative. That took place, I believe, last Tuesday, April 30th. And basically, the main focus for the community board are the 3 properties that they're looking to put an RFP out, request for proposal. One of those properties is actually up the block on Myrtle between Marcy and Nostrand. The second property is right by the Utica Avenue train station, and the third property along Fulton from Ralph to Howard to Saratoga, which are actually 3 lots on that end of the district. There will be another resource fair conversation with the community taking place in the end of June with HPD. And you will get the flyer on that as soon as it comes out. Someone mentioned, I think it was the bid mentioned about the issue and how we are a rat district and we're having our issues with that vermin. I actually had a meeting last week with the sanitation Brooklyn North Chief Pitts is his name. Tomorrow and Thursday, I'm doing a walkthrough of the commercial district with sanitation to point out some of the trouble spots along our commercial corridors. Part of the reason we're having this increase is a lot of it has to do with construction that's taking place. As you know, when you dig and you excavate, you're going into their homes now. So now they're coming up to say hello. Another problem is, we have a lot more restaurants, bars, commercial entities, and a lot of these establishments, they're not having paying for private carding, which is what they're supposed to do. They're depending on the sanitation department to pick it up. That's not their job, pick up their trash. They're supposed to have paid for private carding. So I'm going to be doing a walkthrough with them on Tuesday and Thursday along all our different commercial corridors, Myrtle, Fulton, Malcolm X, Ralph, you name it, we're doing that walkthrough to check on that. Last, I just want to point out the great work that our committees are doing. Mr. Fletcher mentioned earlier about the Veterans Committee and about our Health and Social Service Committee. And those who received those green bags with information in them, that actually came from the Health Committee's event back on April 27th. There's a lot of great information in there. So if you were not able to attend that, please take that information on. Just don't throw it away and just keep the bag. Read the information that came in the bag. But we have other events that are coming up. Our economic committee is having an event. I'm going to let Mr. Tyrone Anthony speak briefly about that. But also on May 30th, we're in town hall. Our housing committee is having a town hall about all the development that's going to be taking place in this district. That's taking place from today to next year to 5-10 years from now. A lot of development is going to be taking place. And we're going to talk about the different types of development. That's May 30th. Our Parks Committee, they're having a town hall about all the capital improvements that are taking place in our parks. That's going to take place June 5th. I'm going to let Mr. Anthony mention briefly about his event, his committee's event that's going to be taking place on May 16th.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. So again, I'll be very brief to segue into what Mr. Butler said. In the front, if everyone could pick up a package, May 16th is the place, is the date. The Skylight Gallery at Restoration Plaza, that is the location. So the Economic Development Committee has been working very hard to bring more than just SLA license to the community, right? So what we've been doing, this is called Economic Development Conference, Bedford Getting Down to Business. So anything, we are having an event, and I'll just read briefly what it says. 2019 Economic Development Conference, Bedford Getting Down to Business, will be the forum to acquire information regarding local resources, meet local elected officials, and learn about economic sustainability initiatives in our neighborhood. Hear from experts as they discuss real estate, personal wealth, employment, and small business. This event is actually in partnership with our local economic development partner, the BID. The BID director, Naveen Sadiq, was here earlier. Other partners include Restoration, Eric Adams, the Borough President's Office, NYC Small Business, so the Commissioner of SBS, Greg Bishop, will be here in attendance to answer any questions as well. Bridge Street, we also have the Bedford Real Estate Board, and the list goes on. So if you have any interest, if you're a small business owner, if you're a homeowner, if you're a renter, whatever you are in this community, this event is the place to be. May 16th, and guess what? The event is free. Also, not to mention, yes, we will have food, good food. Also, we will have wine as well. So please come enjoy yourself. Oh, also, we will have live music, a jazz band, right? So anybody who's interested in learning about economic development, having a great time, meeting great people, and eating great food, this is the event that you cannot miss. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anthony. And the very last thing I want to announce, Mr. Plateau mentioned it earlier, for those who came after this announcement, next month's meeting, June 3rd meeting, is taking place at Pleasant Grove Baptist Church, located at 1927 Fulton Street, corner of Howard Avenue. That's next month's June 3rd meeting, but then we're having a second meeting in June. That's going to be June 24th, and that will be back at Restoration Plaza. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. We're going to move to our informational presentation. It is coming from the Transportation, Sanitation, and Environment Committee. Introduction for this presentation is going to be given by the chair of the committee, Mr. Gregory Glasgow.
Good evening, everyone. Last month, you heard a presentation from DOT reporting back on the things that they found from their community assessment and survey that they did in our community for the past 6 months. Tonight, you will get a chance to hear about the first improvement that they're going to recommend based on the information that they received. And this improvement is going to be done on Myrtle and Broadway, so it's not far from here. So tonight you'll have a presentation. We have the Deputy Commissioner from DOT, Claudette Workman. We have Burns Forsythe, and we have another gentleman from DOT that will make this presentation about planned improvements to Myrtle and Broadway.
Good evening. As was just explained, you may have remembered me from the last meeting. I went briefly through a process that we did at the end of last year involving an extended outreach process, looking at safety within the Bedford, Stuyvesant, Ocean Hill, Brownsville area. Tonight, Chris Brunson, who's one of our senior planners within the department, is going to go through one of the projects that we're looking at now. This project actually was one of the requests we received in 2017, December, from the board. After the process of us doing outreach, it was also a project that was, or I should say, an intersection that the board specifically asked that we look at in terms of prioritizing in terms of safety. So we do have a proposal we want to go through, so I'll let Chris have as much time as possible.
Thanks. Thank you for having us. My name is Chris Brunson. I'm the Director of Safety Projects and Programs at DOT. Like Burns said, Myrtle Ave and Broadway is a very busy intersection. Who knows this intersection? Everyone knows it? All right, good. So we'll go fast. We'll go through this proposal fast and then get to some questions. So just a little background on this intersection. Myrtle and Broadway has a history of safety requests, including the request we got from Community Board 3 about a year and a half ago. It's busy not only because it's two major streets intersecting as well as Jefferson Street at this location, but it's also the location of the Myrtle Avenue JMZ subway station as well as 3 bus stops. So you have like a little bit of a mini it's kind of a transit center, right, at this location. This intersection in a 5-year period has 58 total injuries, and included in that is 6 severe injuries and 1 pedestrian fatality in 2011. Both Broadway and Myrtle Ave are Vision Zero priority corridors. That means that they have a high pedestrian crash rate per mile in Brooklyn. So these are some of the highest crash corridors in all of Brooklyn, and they intersect here. And another challenge of this location is that Myrtle Ave and Broadway are both local truck routes for deliveries, okay? So some other existing conditions that we know of, the column. You know that column that's in the center of the travel lane if you're driving west on Myrtle? Which way do you go? Do you go on the right? Do you go on the left? Do you go? No one knows, right? People seem to split the difference, and that makes it confusing for motorists, for pedestrians that are waiting to cross Myrtle, everyone at the intersection. Also, because Broadway and Myrtle don't meet at a 90-degree angle, and then you also have Jefferson Street coming to the northeast, it makes the intersection movements very difficult and unpredictable for pedestrians. They're not aware of where turning vehicles are coming from. Motorists are not aware where pedestrians are coming from. It just makes it feel more chaotic and less predictable for all users of the intersection. And then with that, we're under the elevated subway here, right? The elevated train. So it's darker under there. There's reduced visibility because of the columns, the darkness, and so that increases the conflict between pedestrians and motor vehicles at this location. So this is a diagram of a bird's eye view of the intersection. You have Broadway going northwest to southeast, Myrtle going east-west, and then Jefferson shooting off to the northeast. That purple bubble is pointing to where the column is right there. You can see the bus stops for the B54, the subway stairs, B46, B47 stops, etc. Now, 2 of the really challenging turns in this intersection are the southbound Broadway to westbound Myrtle, that right turn inside the column. Very, very busy corner there, right? People are going to and from the subway, transferring to the B46, 47. And then the eastbound Myrtle to northbound Broadway. So that left turn going up there toward northbound Broadway. Those are the 2 most challenging turns for motorists to see pedestrians and pedestrians to see motorists because they're at such atypical angles, as I had mentioned before. So what we're proposing to do is to simplify and create less chaos at the intersection, make it more predictable for all users so we can reduce crashes, reduce injuries, and just make it a more pleasant place for motorists as well as pedestrians. So the proposal has a number of elements. First, for the southbound right turn from Broadway to Myrtle, we're proposing to ban that turn. What that allows us to do is to close that little spot between the column and the sidewalk, create an expanded pedestrian space, and that will help pedestrians crossing Broadway as well as Myrtle by shortening the crossing distances and reducing the conflicts between pedestrians and turning vehicles. Because those are really our 2 busiest crosswalks at that intersection. The northern crosswalk on Broadway and the western crosswalk on Myrtle. In those pedestrian spaces, so motor vehicles don't go through there, we're going to have not only plastic delineators, but also granite blocks. So cars, we had heard this at the TC, Transportation Committee meeting, that we wanted to make sure that people aren't driving through these spaces. We want to make sure that people feel safe standing there and motorists aren't using those as shortcuts through the intersection. For the eastbound, you'll notice that we're going to be shifting the lane over a little bit, so we're clarifying which side of the column that you're supposed to be driving on. So if you're going eastbound or westbound, it'll be very clear which side of the column, because we're going to be closing that space between the western corner and the column for pedestrian space. We will also be we are also proposing to ban the eastbound on Myrtle to northbound Broadway turn, that's the left turn. And in the westbound direction, the right turn from Myrtle to Broadway will be for cars only, no trucks. Now when we ban, so the ban turns help to clarify the vehicle movements, make actions more predictable, and reduce those vehicle pedestrian conflicts I mentioned before. Next slide. So when we ban turns at an intersection, we're very careful to do so. We make sure that we're doing it for all the right reasons. The reasons we're doing it here is we want to reduce any of those failure to yield, those awkward turns in motor vehicles where motor vehicles can't see the pedestrians can't see the motor vehicles, and there's a high incident rate. When we ban them, we want to make sure that it's low volume turns and there are good alternate routes. This is the intersection of 2 truck routes, so we need to consider that as part of our equation. So if vehicles need northbound access on Broadway, especially for the trucks, they would be taking Lewis Ave over to Broadway, which is a much easier and less, it's a less busy intersection. And then for southbound trucks getting to Myrtle Avenue, they would take Marcus Garvey to get onto Myrtle Avenue, again, which is the local truck route. Now we know that we already know that some trucks are doing this, and the trucks that we would be reassigning to these routes for the same percentages that we are currently seeing those trucks do those movements. Trucks are using these 2 streets because they can't make the turns at Myrtle and Broadway. It's too hard. So they're using these alternate routes already. Next. On Lewis Ave, we're also going to clarify the markings on this street. It's currently very open, and when you have an open street with no markings, you tend to see speeding. When you have high speed, you have higher injury rates on a corridor. So this allows us the opportunity to also clarify the movements on Lewis Ave, and especially for that right turn onto Broadway, right? It splits there right at Broadway. It's not very clear with signage or markings. We're going to add signage and markings for that. That'll help to clarify that. And we'll also be painting parking lane stripes to visually narrow the corridor to encourage slower speeds. On the northwest, I guess the corner at Broadway and Lewis, we're going to add a pedestrian painted curb extension to shorten the crossing distances over to the bus stop there on Lewis, as well as help the northbound turns from Lewis to Broadway, help slow those down a little bit. Right now, when cars are taking that left, they're taking it almost as a through, almost as they're going straight, and they're doing it at a high speed. So we want to make sure that they're being more attentive, drivers are being more attentive to pedestrians crossing Broadway at that point. Marcus Garvey will have parking lane stripes throughout, and that'll just help visually narrow the corridor to encourage slower speeds. So in summary, the benefits of this proposal, it realigns the roadway to create simpler, safer movements through the intersection by eliminating dangerous movements around the subway columns. It eliminates difficult turns with heavy vehicle pedestrian conflicts. It creates additional pedestrian space and shorter, safer crossings at a crowded transit hub. And it provides additional clarity and predictability at this challenging intersection. So, do you have any questions?
Okay, normally with the informational presentation, we don't take questions, but I'm gonna allow for 2 or 3 questions. So, if you have a question, if someone will come around with the mic.
They gotta come up to the mic. Now, normally they gotta come down to the mic.
So you have to come up to the mic.
Come up to the mic if you have a question.
All right, we have 3 questions.
Where's the mic?
The mic's over here. If the other people can come up if we have a question.
I thought you were talking about Lewis Avenue, the truck's gonna go down Lewis. Could you put that map back on, because you need to show directions, because we have that B15 bus over there. So we're talking about Lewis from what point, if you're going back east?
It's from Myrtle to Broadway.
Okay, I know Myrtle and Lewis Avenue,
Yeah.
but you said the trucks would go around Lewis Avenue, because Lewis Avenue.
No, okay, so a truck wouldn't take the right on Broadway, at Broadway, it would take the right at Lewis, up to Broadway. There's
So
still,
it's gonna be an alternate route.
it's gonna be an alternate route.
Can you
Okay.
show that slide?
So that alternate route, you took in consideration for the bus route, and also Lewis Avenue is pretty congested as we speak now, because I avoid Lewis Avenue myself when I drive. So, I mean, you don't have a long stick or something you could show exactly what part of Lewis Avenue? I know you say Lewis Avenue and Myrtle Avenue, they will no longer make a turn there, correct? So where?
Okay, so here's just a version, this shows how many vehicles we're actually rerouting by doing the alternate route. On Lewis Avenue, at the peak hour, it's only 7 extra cars and 5 extra trucks.
Lewis and Myrtle only you're talking about, right? Because Lewis
From Myrtle to Broadway using Lewis, that's it. We're not talking about anything else that affects Lewis Avenue in the south.
Okay.
So it's only 12 vehicles an hour. That's very, very low, yes.
So did you take into consideration that intersection at Lewis and Broadway where the bus stops and then it has to make a left turn on
We're keeping the
on
bus stop
Broadway?
there, yep.
Right, but it's like 3 imaginary lanes at that junction now that is conflicted. So what future plans do you have for that section?
We're gonna clarify that, we're leaving the bus stop there and we're gonna make it more, it's gonna be clarified with 2 lanes at the approach and 1 lane that goes on to Broadway to the left and 1 to the right.
Okay, because right now, everyone just merge in and.
Yeah, that's why we want to clarify it, yeah.
Can you go back to the slide where you were banning the? Yeah. So the question is, this banned right turn onto Myrtle, all those cars are gonna go south and make the right turn onto Stuyvesant, which is already a pretty dangerous and dark intersection. Has that been considered? There's also a column in the middle of that street right there. It's about 100 feet from the south of the Myrtle Avenue intersection. So there's a Stuyvesant, the next corner is Stuyvesant. There's a column in the middle, it's dark, and all those cars that are going south are just gonna make the right turn onto Stuyvesant. Has that been considered or thought about?
We can look at it again. I mean, this is the proposal for now, but we'll definitely, every project we put in, we monitor. And this was the one that was the focus, because this is the kind of the epicenter of the crashes on a corridor. But definitely, point well taken.
Okay, last question.
All right, so to follow up on that same intersection and speak specifically to the lack of visual lighting there, the markings and signage there, because now you're rerouting trucks into a different intersection. The overpass for the lead up and leave off from the train station are going to be clearly marked not to have these trucks just get stuck into that intersection, because then they start taking commercial routes. There is a risk that that's not clearly marked, height level being 12.2 or whatever it is to get those trucks through. Is that a consideration as well?
Yeah, so for the alternate routes, we are going to have the proper signage for trucks, and that will be at all the necessary locations on the approaches.
All right, well, thank you very much. I guess we can be here for a few minutes. Okay, so anyone else has questions? Transportation Department will be here. I guess you can see them in the back. Okay, we are moved to our next agenda item, which is a public hearing. We have a public hearing coming from the Housing and Land Use Committee. And the hearing will be introduced by the Chair of the Housing and Land Use Committee, C. Doris Pender.
Good evening, everyone.
Our public hearing tonight is on, a development that's going to take place right here on Myrtle Avenue. In the matter of an application submitted by the Department of Housing Preservation and Development pursuant to Article 16 of the General Municipal Law of the New York State for the designation of property located at 776 to 780 Myrtle Avenue. That's in block 1754, lots 19, 20, and 22. As an urban development action area, urban development action area project for such area, and 2, pursuant to section 197C of the New York City Charter for the disposition of such properties located at 778, 780 Myrtle Avenue, block 754, lots 20 and 22, to a developer to be selected by HPD. To facilitate a mixed-use development containing approximately 59 affordable housing units, commercial and community facility space in the Borough of Brooklyn Community District 3. The presentation will be given by Andrew Murray, the project manager at Impact.
Okay, Impact, you're on.
Good evening. My name is Erin Buchanan, and I'm from the New York City Department of Housing Preservation and Development. With me tonight are members of the development team working on the 776 Myrtle Avenue project, including Bernal, Kuza, and Andrew from Impact Brooklyn, and Akiko from Urban Architectural Initiatives. We're excited to be here tonight presenting 776 Myrtle Avenue. The proposed project will result in the development of one new 9-story affordable and supportive housing building with approximately 59 housing units plus 1 unit for a superintendent. Impact Brooklyn was selected in January 2018 through HPD's supportive housing request for qualifications to be the team responsible for the development of this project. The ULURP application for this project was certified on April 8th, and HPD is the applicant. This ULURP application is before the board seeking approvals for Urban Development Action Area project designation and project approval and the disposition of city-owned property. I'll provide a very brief overview of the proposed project before handing it over to the team. So the proposed project will be located on 3 city-owned vacant tax lots on the south side of Myrtle Avenue between Nostrand and Marcy Avenues. As mentioned earlier, it will contain approximately 59 units and approximately 40,000 square feet of residential floor area with a ground floor commercial space of about 3,000 square feet. Amenities in the building include bike storage, a laundry room, community room, a landscaped rear courtyard, and a green roof. So now I'll hand it over to Ms. Greer to provide an overview of Impact and their work in the neighborhood.
Good evening, everyone, and I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Bernal Greer. I'm the Executive Director of Impact Brooklyn. We've been around for 55 years as a comprehensive community development corporation. I want to save time because we only have 20 minutes to present, and I want you to get to the heart of what we have here. So as you can read through, we're comprehensive, so economic development, affordable housing. We currently run supportive housing. You heard about the Housing Connect. We also educate the community about how to be in it to win it. So with that, I really want to turn things over to the team and have Andrew and Kuza, our real estate development team, to come forward. So thank you for the opportunity this evening.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Andrew Murray. I'm the project manager of Housing Development at Impact. I just want to give you a quick context of the site. It's directly across from the Marcy houses and the Marcy playground. You may have passed it on your way here. It's a great site. You're right by the G train, the B44 and 54 buses. You have supermarket options. You have Woodhull Hospital. You have public and charter schools. And you have a plethora of parks all around you. So the big gist here is every unit, all units will be 100% affordable, and we're putting that under the range of 60% area median income. What that translates to for rents in this particular scenario is you have 822 for a studio, for example, and up to a 1,259 for a two-bedroom. What that translates to in the greater scheme for your household income is if you're looking to apply in the lottery, for example, for a studio, you would be a one-person household and you would have to make $30,583 or less. Then if you're applying for a two-bedroom, and similarly, you would be making $52,523. I'll pass it on to our project architect, Atika.
Good evening, everyone. So this is an image of the proposed building, 9 stories. On Myrtle Avenue, only 8 stories to let a little more light onto the street. The ground floor is a commercial space with a tenant to be determined, and there's a residential entrance there. And we've chosen the materials to be very warm and welcoming and add some liveliness to the block. The site plan shows that we have a rear yard. It's south facing, so we'll hopefully get a lot of light. And there'll be lots of seating areas and places, activity spaces for the tenants. Ground floor, you can see the slide on the right, shows the commercial space, and then the blue on the edge shows the residential entry. The basement will have a community room, laundry room, and program spaces, support services as previously mentioned. And then we're hoping to incorporate a lot of sustainable features in the building. Basically, whole list here, but we're going to have a very well insulated building, a green roof, and energy efficient appliances, lighting, basically try to contribute not to making the neighborhood warmer, but to cool down the neighborhood in the summer. I think I'll pass it back to Andrew. Or is it Kuza?
Hi, good evening. My name is Kuza Woodard. I'm the Director of Real Estate at Impact Brooklyn. We just wanted to keep it brief and just say that at Impact Brooklyn, we are committed to ensuring that at least 25% of the jobs on this project go to qualified minority and women-owned businesses. What that means is that we actively seek out services from qualified minority women-owned businesses on this job during development. Our architect, our attorney, and also our environmental consultant are qualified minority women-owned businesses. During construction, when we go out to bid, we will make sure to invite, again, qualified minority women-owned businesses to be the general contractor. During construction, once we select a general contractor, we'll also work with that GC to invite qualified minority women-owned businesses to bid on certain trades. In terms of permanent jobs, we will, our property manager and our social service provider will also have a preference for hiring local workers. Just quickly moving on to our timeline. So we're at the ULERP stage now. We expect to assemble our financing and apply for tax credits towards the end of the summer, early fall. We expect to go out to bid on this job during the winter, December 2019, January 2020. Close on construction by the summer of 2020. We expect to complete construction by the spring of 2022. And that's when we would start to advertise on Housing Connect. I think that with that, we're done with our presentation. We'll take
Okay,
questions.
so now if board members, anyone from the public has any questions, if you could please come up to the mic that's to my left. And for anybody from Impact, if you have any comments, please be sure to speak into the mic. Make sure that your voice is picked up so we can have it on our recordings. Okay, so are there any questions from, yes, okay, if you could please come to the mic that's to my left.
This line up along the wall over here.
And when you speak, when you start, if you could please give your name so we know who you are on the recording. Yes, come up, please, to the mic.
Hello, my name is Refugio Ramos. I am, just to give a brief who I am, I have 1 more year for public administration, my master's in public administration at John Jay. I also have 18 years as a social worker. I was a social therapist for my last job, a social therapist for foster care agency, and I work with kids that were traumatized by abuse and neglect. So my question to you, and I am also a resident for Impact. My question to you, there are some issues that have not been addressed. So my question to you is, how are you going to address, if you're going to provide programs there, how are you going to make sure that you take responsibility of the actions y'all take? And if we can also set up, can the city or board members, before y'all vote, do some research about the issues that are presented? I am also going to be presenting a report down within the 2 weeks to the city of how Impact can improve their services. Now, Impact, I hope that y'all do really look at how you're going to provide services and hold accountable, or set up something to be accountable for the services you provide, because I think that's where y'all fell.
Are you talking about a specific building now, or?
I'm a resident for Impact, and they provide social services there. So my question to them is, because I have concerns, and my concerns are that when I brought the concerns, they were not addressed. And I went all the way to the top.
Okay, so you're concerned with how they're running a particular building?
And then I'm asking y'all, before y'all vote, that y'all really look.
So let's hear them answer that.
So for both Mr. Refugio and also Mr. Ricardo, who would be, I think, next in terms of speaking. Again, I'm here as the Executive Director of Impact Brooklyn. We have several different programs. We have a solutions focus group that meets on a monthly basis at Give Mansion, and I think for both of the residents here. And so again, for me, I've been as Executive Director here, and my predecessor was Deb Howard for 2 years, and for almost 2.5 years, I've been at the organization. I know just about every resident that lives in Give Mansion. We also have supportive housing down at Navy Green. I'm on the community advisory committee there for Navy Green. And so again, in terms of the different programs, the different and issues that come up, I can honestly say that I think that I know, as you said, that bring things up to the top. As you know, Refugio, you have come to my office, and I have an open door policy. So it will take time for certain things that you speak about, but everything that you have mentioned in the past, and again, I don't want to necessarily hear that, and you've sent letters and we've taken it to the assembly, to Congress, to everywhere else, and we've addressed your issues.
May I respond? One last thing. As I brought it to you,
yes,
you said you would get back to me. You never did. And then when I went
so we're not going to,
I'm just saying, you did not address the issues with me. You did not address the issues to me, because you just, you said that
Mr. Refugio.
Let me finish speaking, please, because I did not interrupt you, okay? And we're both adults. As I said to you, when I brought the issues to you, you said you would get back to me. I can look at my phone, you never got back to me. You never did. So my question to you is that I do think you are failing, and this is just my personal opinion, because if you were going to take responsibility and really address those issues would have been resolved now, which they haven't been.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that.
Can you control us for that? Yes, okay. Anything else to add? Okay, so we're gonna have our next,
Good evening. My name is Ricardo Aquali. I'm the chairman of the Give Mansion Tenant Advisory Board. And we have at Give Mansion Social Services. I have 25 years experience in the field at Covenant House, Volunteers of America, Promesa, and so on. And the general opinion is that social services at Kid Mansion is poor. And people that have worked in the field, like Rugio, myself, people who worked in gay men's health crisis, other agencies believe that the services are poor. I've offered though to Ms. Greer to sit down and to speak on how to improve services, not only at Kid Mansion, but our concern is with senior citizens that will be receiving services at this new program, Alberta Avenue. So we believe the services are poor, and we can address these issues if Ms. Greer is open to discussing some of the issues that we have and how to improve on the services at Kid Mansion. The other thing is that we also have 50 supported housing tenants and 21 low-income tenants. The 21 low-income tenants have to follow a rule book, such as you can only be given 10 overnights. I would like to see if they can get, if Impact can do something so that when they have tenants come in that are non-supportive housing, that they would not be under any rule book. They can probably negotiate that with the agency that oversees supportive housing. And then lastly, we would highly recommend that they not transfer the staff from Kid Mansion to the new facility, including the director of social services. And unfortunately, we had 4 people pass away since January, so I'm not in a great mood. We had 4 people that lived in Kid Mansion that had illness that passed away, and 1 we just heard about today. So hopefully, Greg can work with us on some of these issues.
Okay, before she addresses that, just so the board members and members of the public know, the Health Committee of Community Board 3 did do a site visit to Kid Mansion, I think about 2 or 3 months ago. So I don't know if that'll come up in the recommendation or whatever. So you'll probably hear a little bit more about that from the chair of the Land Use Committee, Ms. Penn. Yes.
So yes, we've actually had 5 people pass away at Kid Mansion recently, and just found out today that 1 long-term resident passed away. He had a heart attack. And so again, all of the different illnesses and what have you that have occurred, they're not anything that's necessarily associated with living at Kid Mansion. You know, so I just wanted to make that point. We have memorial services, and I have attended those memorial services at Kid Mansion. We have, as I mentioned before, the Solutions Focus Group. I have been attending those meetings. There were complaints about whether I would be present. I have been attending those meetings, and when I cannot, there are other people from 1000 Dean Street that attend those meetings, and that information is brought back to me. I take this very seriously. I'm a member of the Brooklyn community, and we at Impact are really looking to provide, again, great service to whatever facility that we have. So again, just in terms of going through, I'm in constant communication with Ricardo, and just want to let folks to know. So again, I thank you, and I appreciate your comments this evening, both Ricardo and Ms. Ruggiero. Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions or comments from board members or the public? Okay, if not, I will close the public hearing, and I think we will, at the time that the chair of land use gives her report, I think there'll also be a brief statement from the chair of the Social Service Committee, Heather Johnson, who made a site visit to the Kid Mansion. Before we move to our community announcements, I just would like to recognize the angel of this house, Reverend Craig Williams, Pastor. Reverend Craig Williams,
Good evening. Praise the Lord, everybody. I'm not the pastor of this church. My dad is Bishop Marvin B. Williams Sr. He's not here now, so
I'm not starting in the room.
Right. I want to make that very clear. Amen. But I am associate pastor here at Greater St. Stephen's, and we're glad to have all of you here tonight. And we are excited about what is happening in our community. The scripture clearly says to us that when the people have a mind to work, that they can accomplish great things. And so even with things that are going on in our community, all in all, Bed-Stuy, I still have great hopes for Bed-Stuy. Amen. And so we are glad to have you here tonight. The doors are always open to come and to share with us. We're here on Sundays, any Sunday at 11 a.m. Anybody that wants to come and be a part of a great worship service at 11 a.m. on Sunday morning, Greater St. Stephen, right here at 874 Myrtle Avenue. We'd love to have you. God bless you.
Thank you so much. We're moving on to our community announcements, so if you could please be ready, come to the mic and keep your comments to 2 minutes. Derafim, Bernadette Nichols, Shador Tainer, Jaleisha Hunt, I don't know, Impact Brooklyn, somebody put their name down, I don't know, is Impact want to speak? Who's that? Okay, Raleigh from Impact Brooklyn, Noah Goldberg from Brooklyn Eagle, and I think Meredith Jones. Okay, please, in that order. 2 minutes, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm Bernadette Nichols. Just want to say hello and to let you know that I am a candidate running for civil court judge. I'm running countywide all over Brooklyn. I have been an attorney for a very long time. For 3 years, I practiced civil rights law, and thereafter I went into the court system. I've been in the court system for the last 17 years. I spent 10 years working with the judge, assisting her with all of her work. I was basically a legal advisor, and for the last 7 years, I've been at the Supreme Court, downtown Brooklyn. I'm presiding over bench trials, hearings, I settle cases. I'm very involved in the community with the young people and with the elderly. And now I'm running for civil court judge. I was qualified by the Brooklyn Bar Association, the New York State Bar, and many of the other local communities that I've been before. Election is June 25th. Bernadette Nichols for civil court judge.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Shadow Tarver. I am the community liaison from Save Our Streets, Bed-Stuy, also known as SOS Bed-Stuy. Thank you all for having me here tonight. Really appreciate it. I just wanted to let you all know that we have a couple of events coming up in Bed-Stuy and Crown Heights. We're hosting a workshop this Thursday at our 432 Gates location for individuals who have had convictions. So it's about navigating life after a conviction. We are also having 2 community events, kind of like block parties in Crown Heights and Bed-Stuy. On May 18th, we'll be having a street festival, mostly for the youth, on Kingston Avenue between Bergen Streets and Pacific Streets. And then on, that's on May 18th, excuse me. And then on June 1st, we're having a summer barbecue on Marcy Ave between Gates Avenue and I believe Lexington for the Bed-Stuy community. So it's free of charge, anyone can come. We're really delighted to have more young people come out as we are a youth program and also an anti-violence program. I just wanted to say God bless. I hope all the mothers have a great Mother's Day, and Ramadan Mubarak to all of our Islamic brothers and sisters.
Thank you. Following Meredith Jones will be Daniel Fisher, and last will be Teresa Smith. Is Jaleisha Hunt here? Okay, Raleigh? Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Raleigh Golson. I'm the marketing assistant at Impact Brooklyn. Our executive director pretty much already expanded on the services we offer, but I wanted to talk about some of the workshops we have upcoming that don't involve our project management team. Our upcoming Ready to Rent, we heard somebody mention how everyone should be participating in Housing Connect. So we'll be holding the event at Crown Heights Library, and you can have a free credit check and find out what your income for housing is and calculate your actual AMI to find out where you should, what you qualify for and what housing projects and complexes you should be applying for. Also, we have an upcoming first-time homebuyer workshop. This is our only workshop that has a fee. It's a $75 registration fee. And that is because at the end of the workshop, you become automatically qualified for down payment assistance loans up to $40,000. Our tenant protection services is basically what this flyer is expanding on. Our tenant protection services step in to help tenants know their rights and combat landlords who are taking up predatory equity tactics to get long-term tenants out of their apartments. So we've seen a spike in landlord harassment. So when we see that, our tenant organizers step in to organize tenant associations so they have better leverage to win cases against landlords, not just for their individual apartments, but for the buildings as a whole. And also coming up tomorrow, all tenants in the city have the chance to tell the Rent Guidelines Board to vote for what's right and what's fair for tenants. Last year there was a rent increase for everyone with rent stabilized apartments. And the only way to avoid another increase to go out to vote. And tomorrow is the preliminary vote, and that's taking place at the Great Hall of Cooper Union. That's located on 7 East 7th Street, and that's in Manhattan.
Thank you. Noah Goldberg.
Hi, everyone. My name is Noah Goldberg. I'm a reporter for the Brooklyn Eagle. I just started about a month ago. I cover justice and criminal justice issues in Brooklyn. So I cover everything going on in like Brooklyn criminal courts. I cover housing issues, general crime stories. I'm looking to reach out to the public more and get stories from you guys. Whatever you think is messed up going on in Brooklyn, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always accepting tips. My email is noah, Noah, at brooklyneagle.com. And my phone number, if you want to write it down, is 323-286-2166. I can say that one more time. 323-286-2166. Thank you.
Thank you, Noah.
I have cards.
Give me a card.
Okay. They have some hot tips here. Okay, Meredith Jones.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Meredith Jones, and I'm running for judge of the Kings County Surrogates Court. And for those of you who don't know, the Surrogates Court is a court that deals with the affairs of people who are deceased. So we do wills and trusts in that court, and we also do guardianships and adoptions. So I've been a longtime resident of Brooklyn, well over 30 years, graduated from Wingate High School. I worked my way through Cornell University, both undergrad and law school. And I engaged in private practice for several years, but for the past 15 years, I've been working at the Surrogates Court. And currently I work as a court attorney referee. And so I have some of the same duties that judges have. I do hearings and trials. I settle matters at conferences, and I basically advise the judge with regards to the law and matters and make recommendations as to how decisions should be, how cases should be resolved. So I basically wanted to just let everyone know I'm running for judge for that court. I'm asking people to come out and vote on June 25th. I think you heard from District Leader Olave that the elections have been moved up from September. So I want everyone to come on out, vote. Primaries have been moved up from September. So I want everybody to come out and vote. And just remember Meredith Jones running for Surrogates Court Judge. Thank you.
Thank you. Is Teresa Smith here? Okay, if not, we're going to go to our roll call for the board members.
Babatunde Akaway. Felicia Alexander. Present. Taiwan Anthony. Present. Monique Antoine. Dr. Kim Best. Anthony Bouzuret. Michael Catlin.
Present.
Ivy Gamble Cobb. Evelyn Collier. Pastor Gwendolyn Dingle. Tiana Evans. Here. Mark Fissell is excused. Richard Plateau. Here. Sharon Forbes. Keith Forrest. Here. Gregory Glasgow. Here. Shea Greenfeld. Mary James Head. Abby Robertson Hobson.
Present.
Omar Holloway. Everett Hughes. Therese Uriarte. Edna Johnson. She left? Okay, thank you. Dr. Carleen Johnson. Dr. Deborah Lamb is excused. Mary Little. Dionisio Liz. Hardy Joe Long. W. Matthews. Kenneth Abuno. Ellen Miller. Eldiva Murray. Melissa Cloud Norman. Kwaku Payton. Satina Payton. Simone Pratt.
I'm here.
C. Doris Penn. Karen Rao.
Present.
Carolyn Richburg. Stacy Ruffin. Present. Suzette Shepherd. Jamila Swift. Chinyelu Udo. Reverend Dr. Robert Waterman is excused. Douglas Williams. TJ Wilson.
Johnson came back.
Okay, so while we're trying to see, hopefully, that we have a quorum, I'm gonna ask if we could have our committee updates and resolutions. Any committee updates and resolutions, if you can please use the mic that's to my left.
The Civic and Public Safety Committee was scheduled for Friday, May 3rd, but it's been rescheduled for this Friday. So the Civic and Public Safety Committee this Friday at 6 o'clock at the Community Board office, 6 o'clock, and I hope to see a lot of you there. Thank you. And I know Ricardo will be there.
Okay, any other committee updates and resolutions?
Yes, good evening. I wanted to make an announcement. Housing and Land Use Committee. Nothing seems to interest people more than housing. And so we're going to try to bring to you as much information as we have. The project that we have here tonight is one. We have 19 projects that's going to be coming, that have come before the community board. And they fall under 9 programs of the city. We also have 3 projects that are in the future that have not come yet. And so we're going to be discussing all of that at our town hall on May 30th. And that's going to take place at Restoration Plaza in the basement. It's going to be a very interesting program that night. We will have some refreshments at 6 p.m. and we'll have a program starting at 7 p.m. on present and future projects in Community Board 3.
Okay, yes.
Just 2 quick things from the Youth and Education Committee. This Thursday, May 9th, the Education Committee is partnering with Uncommon Schools to on Bed-Stuy Reads, which is a summer reading kickoff. It's this Thursday from 4 to 6 at the Marcy Library, which is at 617 DeKalb Avenue. The other thing is the voting for Bed-Stuy's Best will go live on May 15th, and the board will share the links once it's live. And the voting will take place for a week on the 22nd, May 22nd.
Thank you. Any other committee updates or resolutions? Okay, so we have a quorum. We have 30 present, 16 absent. Next, we will take action on the public hearing. The public hearing was the housing and land use matter with Impact Brooklyn. So report will be given by the chair of the Housing and Land Use Committee, and I think we will also have brief words from the chair of the Health and Social Service Committee.
Yes. The project in the matter of the application submitted by the Department of Housing Preservation and Development, as it was read into the minutes earlier, before the presentation by the applicants. They met with the community board, land use and housing committee on 3 occasions. 2 occasions before the certification of the application, and then they met with the community board, housing and land use committee again on last week. All of the issues and questions were resolved in those meetings, and that led the community board, housing and land use committee to vote on that project. Before we get into the vote, this, because it's supportive housing, by our rules or our habits, we have the project that comes before us, even though it's housing, it will be examined by the land use committee, and it will also be examined by the social service committee. And so at this time, the chair of the social service committee will give some information on their portion of the.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Edna Johnson. I'm Chair of Health and Social Services for Community Board 3. And yes, we did go out and do a walkthrough at the Give Mansion. We looked at their social service program. What we saw, we were very happy with. What we saw, we thought was a good program for what they were doing. We also visited a couple of the apartments. We looked around, the place was clean. We didn't see any out of the order behavior from anyone or anything going on that shouldn't be going on, and we was there for a while. And the walkthrough that we did of the social service program, we put a stamp of approval on it from the committee's point of view. And I just wanted to make sure that you all knew that. Thank you.
On May 1st, the Housing and Land Use Committee met and voted to support the project.
Okay, you heard the recommendation of the Housing and Land Use Committee. You also heard the report from the chair of the Health Committee. Is there a motion on the recommendation? Yes. Moved by Doug Williams to accept the recommendation of Housing and Land Use, seconded by Gregory Glasgow. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, call a question, we'll take a vote. This is for a letter of support for Impact Brooklyn for 776 to 780 Myrtle Avenue.
Felicia Alexander,
Yes.
Taiwan Anthony.
Yes.
Anthony Roosevelt,
Yes.
Michael Catlin,
Yes.
Evelyn Collier,
Yes.
Pastor Gwendolyn Dingle, Taina Evans, Richard Flato,
Yes.
Sharon Forbes,
Yes.
Keith Forrest,
Yes.
Gregory Glasgow,
Yes.
Mary Jameson Head,
Yes.
Abby Robinson Hobson,
Yes.
Edward Hughes,
Yes.
Edna Johnson,
Yes.
Dr. Caroline Johnson,
Yes.
Hardy Joe Long, Debbie Matthews,
Yes.
Kenneth Anguno,
Yes.
Ellen Miller,
Yes.
Melissa Plata Norman,
Yes.
Kwaku Payton,
Yes.
Satina Payton,
Yes.
Simone Pratt,
Yes.
C. Doris Penn,
Yes.
Karen Rao,
Yes.
Carolyn Richburg,
No.
Stacy Ruffin, yes, Suzette Shepherd,
Yes.
Doug Williams.
Yes.
Oh, Taina Evans, yes.
Taina Evans said yes. Thank you.
Okay, I just have a couple of things while the secretary's tabulating the vote. One, there was someone who spoke earlier and left a personal item. I won't say what it was, but if you're missing something, I think it was a woman, if you could please see me after the meeting. Also, the committees that have events coming up, if please, if there are any logistical details that you need to finalize in terms of vendors and budget, if you could please be in touch with the district manager. So we're gonna, do you have a vote? Okay, so in the matter of the application by HPD for designation of 776 to 780 Myrtle Avenue as an urban development action area with Impact Brooklyn. The vote was, for a letter of support was 29 in favor, 1 against, so the motion carries. Okay, we're almost finished here. Is there a motion from board member for acceptance of the April 1st, moved by Doug Williams, seconded by Ms. Johnson? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Stop.
Okay, finally, is there a motion for adjournment? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.